So this go around, we'll be looking at a video that I was told is the last cricket video that I need to look at, which is Cricket Explained for baseball fans. So hopefully it'll help things make a little more sense. I don't know, but we'll get into it and find out, won't we? Let's get to it.
Cricket Explained if you already know baseball.
All right, to get this started, I want you to imagine a game much like baseball, except there are only two bases, and they're basically where home plate is and where the pitcher's mound is. To score a run in this game, you simply have to reach the next base. So if you put the ball in play and you make it to the pitcher's mound, that's a run. And then if you're able to make it back to home plate, then you score 2 runs on that play. This game is played in the middle of an oval, so there's no foul area. You can hit the ball behind you, you can hit it to the side or whatever. And in this game, the pitchers are allowed to bounce the ball. If you can picture this game in your mind, you are 75% of the way to understanding cricket. The rest.
Well, at least with the scoring right there, just 2 bases, that kind of simplifies everything, right? Put the ball in play, get to and from the base, or to the next base, and that's a point. And if you get back, that's another point. So, I mean, there's that. I mean, that's at least simple enough. And the fact that it's not played, baseball's played diamond-shaped fields and stuff, or yeah, it's called a baseball diamond. You got the first base, second base, third base, home plate. Everything goes out this way. This being played in a circle, a little bit more interesting, but okay.
Of it is details. Before we get started, I just want to say that I'm going to be explaining this like I would to a friend of mine who knows baseball and wants to know about cricket. I'm probably going to be switching between baseball and cricket terminology a little bit more freely than maybe somebody who's a hardcore cricket fan might be comfortable with. Feel free to correct me in the comments, but what might be more fun is if you made a companion video that explains baseball in reverse. All right, let's get started.
Basic gameplay.
So cricket is a game played between 2 teams of 11 players. When a team is fielding, all 11 of its players are on the field at the same time. 9 players are out in the field at the various positions, and then there's 1 bowler, who is basically the pitcher, and 1 wicketkeeper, who is basically the catcher. And then
Okay, well, that's already a difference right there because baseball, you've got 9 positions. You got catcher, first base, second base, shortstop, third base, left field, center field, right field, and then the pitcher. Those are the positions there on the field itself. So this having 11 with 9 in the field, which is quite a few players to have out in the field. But again, looking at the size of these fields here, or at least the size of the field to play, makes sense with basically the bowler and then person behind the wickets, So, okay.
And the team that is batting has 2 players at bat at any given time. These batters stand at opposite ends of the pitch, which is a narrow rectangle that's in the middle of the oval that is the cricket field. At the ends of the pitch are 2 wickets, which are these little structures that have 3 stumps and 2 bails. The stumps are the 3 pieces of wood that are in the ground, and the bails are these 2 little pieces of wood that rest on top of the stumps. A play begins when the bowler, which is basically the pitcher, bowls the ball to the batter. The bowler is ultimately trying to break the wicket, which would get the batter out, and more on that later. The batter is trying to protect the wicket and put the ball in play. If the ball is put in play and the batter and the teammate are able to switch places, so basically assume the other one's position, the team has scored a run. And if they can do that again, then they score 2, and if they can do that again, they score 3, etc. There are no strikes in cricket. The batter can just choose not to swing if they don't want to. And there's no penalty for hitting a batter with a legally thrown ball. Batters are expected to protect the wicket and not let themselves get hit. In fact, as we'll see in a little bit, there are actually situations where a batter can be called out if they allow themselves to be hit with the ball. There is the equivalent of a ball in cricket. It's called a wide.
And that's a really big difference, seeing as, well, I mean, there only being 2 bases, so it would make sense, but you get hit by a pitch in baseball and you take a base. The fact that that's one of the interesting things for me, just seeing the way that the ball is thrown or the way it's bowled and it hits the ground first. Whereas in watching baseball, like some of the one of my favorite things about baseball is the pitcher and the spin rates and everything else like that are put on some of these pitches, whether it be the fastball and throwing the ball 99, 100, 101, 102 miles an hour, or you taking in throwing a separate type of fastball, which is called a two-seamer, which has a bit of run in it. And normally, for a right-hander, it runs back towards the right-hand side. Left-hander runs back towards left-hand side. So you get a bit of run in the ball, or you got stuff like the curve ball, and the ball curves. Stuff like knuckleballs, which no spin whatsoever. It just kind of floats in the air, and then whatever movement makes it very hard for the batter and a lot of times the catcher to kind of figure out where it's going to go. Sliders, which ball just seems to, I mean, it's got a nice bit of break to it. And so, and stuff like the changeup, which is thrown very much like a fastball, but the speed of it is much different. You have 10, 15, 20 miles per hour's worth of difference on that. So for me, for baseball, like I love seeing home runs being hit and everything like that. But I like seeing defensive games with pitchers that can locate their pitches. So for me, that's one of the biggest differences is the fact that y'all have got people that are bowling the ball instead of, it's got the bounce and stuff like that. Whereas in baseball, you've got with a very good pitcher, they can, especially if they get a lot of strikeouts and can induce a lot of ground balls, they can make a short day of things. They can pretty much shut the opposing team down when they're on their game, so to speak.
The umpire has determined that the bowler has bowled the ball wide. 1 run is awarded to the batting team. There's also something in cricket called a no ball, which is when the umpire has determined that the ball has been delivered illegally. And there's a couple dozen different reasons why an umpire might call a no ball. If the umpire calls a no ball, just like a wide, 1 run is awarded to the batting team.
I'm guessing it goes over the line.
Batters stay on the field until they are out. So they continue to bat and score runs until they are put out. This means that just like in baseball, a batter can be out with 1 single swing of the bat, or they can stay at bat, I guess forever. But it's common for a batter to score between like 20 and 50 runs in an at-bat, and it's not unheard of for a batter to hit 100. This is called a century, and it's very fun.
The boundary.
Along the perimeter of the cricket field,
expected to score between 20 and 50 runs and can score 100. Called the century. Well, holy Jesus. That's quite insane.
is the boundary. This can be a rope or a little cushion type thing, or it could be a short fence or a wall. When a ball is put in play and it reaches or goes past the boundary, that is called a boundary. A ball that rolls and hits or passes the boundary or bounces over the boundary like a ground rule double is worth 4 runs for the batting team. A ball that is hit over the boundary, so basically like a home run, is worth 6 runs for the batting team.
So if you take and hit it and it rolls 2, that's we learned that in the last one. There's 4 runs. But going over, that's pretty much like getting a touchdown in football, basically. 6 points. Just no extra point afterwards.
There are several ways that a batter or runner can get put out in cricket, and they boil down to 2 basic categories. A batter can be caught out, which is just like baseball. They hit a ball in the air and a fielder catches it. Or they can be out if the fielding team knocks the bails off the stumps of the wicket when you are in a position where that can put you out.
Oh, okay. See, that right there. The way he just got the ball after it took a roll towards him and then tossed it and knocked the bail off the wicket there. Okay, cool. That's pretty... I was about to say, man, these things must go on for freaking... No wonder why they've got 5-day matches. Jesus.
2 different ways this could happen. You could be run out. This is where you are trying to score a run, but they knock the ball into the wicket before you reach the crease that defines the place where you are safe. By the way, the bat is part of your body when determining whether or not you are safe. You can be bowled out, and these are very exciting. This is where the bowler sends the ball to you, and the ball bounces past you and knocks the bails off the stumps. A batter can also be put out by the wicketkeeper if the batter moves past this line here called the popping crease, and the wicketkeeper gains possession of the ball and knocks the bails off the stumps. This is called being stumped out. A batter can also be called out if they allow the ball to hit them and the umpire determines that the ball would have knocked the bails off the stumps if the batter had not interfered with their body.
Oh, so if you're in front of the wickets and the ball hits you, and if it would have passed, it would have actually hit the wickets. That's interesting. That's all right. I mean, that makes sense though. I mean, you're guarding the wickets, right? That's your job as the batter. Basically you're guarding the wickets, and you swing and miss, and the ball hits you. Conceivably, with you standing out of the way, the ball would have hit the wicket instead. Makes perfect sense.
This is called a leg before wicket. So those are the most common ways that you will see a batter or runner get put out by the fielding team. There are several other much less common ways for a batter to get out, and we will not be getting into them here. One major difference between baseball and cricket is in cricket, if the fielding team thinks that they have gotten a batter or runner out, they first have to appeal to the umpire, who will confirm whether or not the batter or runner is out. So if a batter or runner would be out, but no one on the fielding team notices it, then play just continues, and the umpire will not just call them out. When a player
so if you don't notice that you got the batter out, they can actually. So you got to pay major attention. All right.
Players put out, the bowling and fielding team is said to have taken the wicket, and the batting and running team is said to have lost the wicket.
Overs.
Each series of 6 pitches or deliveries, which are called balls, is called an over. Each over has only one bowler, and each bowler only bowls one over at a time. So after a bowler has delivered 6 balls, they take a position in the field, and another player comes in to be the bowler for the next over. A bowler can field for an over and then come back to bowl again, but a bowler may not bowl 2 consecutive overs. If you're comparing this all to baseball, overs are similar to individual at-bats in terms of the flow of the game, right? It's like one series of deliveries that everyone's watching, and then there's a brief pause while a new player comes on, and then there's a next set of deliveries that everyone's watching. The difference, of course, is that it's the bowlers, the pitchers that are coming in and out, and not the batters.
So that seems like that could get slightly confused, especially if you got bowlers that take and have a different. I don't know if there has to be different style of bowlers, right? There has to. Everybody can't bowl the same. Like there's gonna have to be different ways they take and do it to, I don't know how much spin or anything like that is allowed to be put on these things, but it seems like that would kind of interrupt the flow for the batters themselves, which could be kind of disconcerting and get you out of kind of feeling kind of, I don't know, kind of sad about things,
Formats.
Beyond everything that has been explained so far, the majority of the details of the game that you watch will depend on the format of cricket that you're watching. There are 2 basic formats of the game of cricket. There's first class cricket and there's limited overs cricket. First class cricket is what a lot of people think of when they think of cricket. We're talking about the games that go on for several days. Everyone is wearing white. Maybe the Queen shows up. And first class cricket is most associated with the 5-day-long test matches that international teams play against one another. They're scheduled for 5 days, but they might be completed before that. At the beginning of the first day, there is a coin toss to determine which team goes first. And then the sides alternate going through their entire batting order. This happens twice. So each team goes through its batting order twice for a total of 4 innings. Unless the team that goes second scores more runs than the team that went first, in which case they don't have to actually finish their entire innings. They just win the game. That was very simplified. The rules governing test matches could be their own 15-minute video. The other format of cricket is limited.
The fact that can be its own 15-minute video is kind of just, holy cow.
Overs cricket, where each team is limited to a certain number of overs, and each innings comes to an end when the specified number of overs has been reached or when all of the batters are out, whichever comes first. There are several types of limited overs cricket, but there are two that you are most likely to see. The first of these are the one-day internationals, or ODI. These are played between national teams, and each team has 50 overs. And then there's also T20 cricket, which is 2020 cricket, where both teams get only 20 overs. This style of cricket was invented to be more exciting and more fast-paced, and to put the length of an individual match around the same as other common sporting events around the world. An easy way to know whether you're watching a test match or a limited overs match is whether the teams are wearing white or colors. And if you are watching a professional match, you're almost definitely watching a T20 match.
So, okay, so a professional match is more likely to be like the T20, 20 overs, and white, it's more likely to be the test. Okay.
Scorekeeping.
All right, pay attention, because this is maybe the most confusing part of all of this, the scorekeeping. So at the bottom of the screen, you'll see it says India, and then it says 118 for 5. This does not mean that the score is 118 runs to 5 runs. No, this means that India has scored 118 runs for 5 wickets, which means that 5 of their batters have been put out. Then it says first innings. So this is the first innings of this match. Then it says England 287. So that's how many runs England scored in their innings. And since this is a test match, both teams will play 2 innings. Then you've got information about the 2 batsmen that are currently up and how many runs they've scored so far. Then at the end, it says Broad 0 for 24. This means that Broad, the bowler, has taken 0 wickets so far and has allowed 24 runs. And then
So 118-5. That's 118 runs, five batters during the first inning. England scored 287 runs during their turn. 29-10 for the different batters that are up there, and then 0 wickets and 24 runs allowed. What's considered a good bowler? What's considered a good bowler? Like the amount. What's a good amount of what amount of runs is a good bowler taking allow or disallow during a match? That's my question, because I know baseball's got earned run average, which is amount of runs they allow, the average amount of runs they allow per 9 innings. So if you take and play 2 or 3 games and you have 1 run scored one game, 0 runs the next game, 2 runs the next game, you're going to have around a 1, a little over 1 for your ERA. And then you got more advanced stats like walks and hits per inning, per 9 innings pitched, and walk rate, and strikeouts per 9, walks per 9, and then you got even more advanced metrics than that. And it's but the big thing is the earned run average, which is how many runs you allow per 9 on average per 9 innings. And that a lot of times determines how well you can look at that a lot of times. And there's external factors, like if he has a piss poor defensive team around him, you kind of take and have times where something that should have been an out turns into a run, and unfortunately that's on him at the end of the day. But yeah, that's one of the determinations on how good a pitcher is how many runs they average, how many runs they have average against them per 9 innings that they pitch. So it's a wee bit different. I'm kind of wondering, from in my opinion, like I know standards, it's like 3.2, 3.3. It's not too bad of an ERA. You start taking to get above 3.5, 3.74. Maybe they need to be a reliever, or they need to take and have a little more seasoning on them or something like that. But 24, okay, like that's, for me, that's looking at it through the baseball lens of like, wow. But again, they're bowling and they're not actually pitching. So
the 15 o'clock over there, that's just the time of the day. It's 3 p.m. Now, for a limited overs match, there's a little bit more information that you need to know. So here you go. Down at the bottom, it says England. This is another game between England and India. It's a women's game. So it says England 103 for 4. So that means that they've scored 103 runs for 4 wickets. P2, don't worry about what that means yet. Then it says 24.3 of 50. That means that we are 24 overs and 3 deliveries into this innings. And then the 50 means that this innings will have at most 50 overs, right? Because this is a one-day international. Then it says target 222. This means that India went first and scored 222 runs. So that's how many runs England has to score to win. And from there, it's pretty much the same as the test match we just saw. Just be careful, because if you're watching an Australian broadcast, the scores are reversed. And the wickets are first and the runs are second. So on this one, it says Ren, that's the Renegades, that's one of the teams, 5 for 135. So it's 5 wickets for 135 runs. So just be careful, it might be confusing.
Some final similarities and differences.
All right, that's basically it. I thought that we would end this video with a few more similarities and differences between baseball and cricket. One major difference is that in cricket, if a ball is in play, the runners are not compelled to move, right? You only run if you think you can make a run. One similarity is that every cricket ground has different dimensions and a different shape. And much like in baseball, this means that certain cricket grounds are more favorable or less favorable to different play styles. Another difference is that in cricket, the positions refer to places on the field and not necessarily the individual.
What the actual...
What the hell?
Holy crapola. Jesus.
Individual fielders. So if baseball had a similar thing, like you would not be the shortstop for your team, you would just be a fielder who would be playing shortstop position. And then if your team was in a shift or whatever, maybe you would be said that you were in the second base position. Or maybe for one batter, you would be in the shallow mid.
Oh my God, I'm glad they did away with the shift. That's one of the most aggravating things I've ever seen, was once they introduced like the extreme shifting like that. Like you've always had slight shifts, taking a move in the second baseman over a bit, the first baseman over, having the shortstop over by the, closer to the second base line, and third baseman over by the short, closer to where the shortstop is at. But that's insane, dude. You got the second baseman way behind where the first baseman is, the shortstop over in between second base and first base. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, I'm glad they don't allow that no more. That's just mind-numbingly insane. If your second baseman and first baseman can't shift enough to take and get the ball, and your outfielder can't come in close enough to where, if something's a pop-up or something like that, they can't get to it. It's good baseball play. Learn how to play better. Simple as that. Or learn to pitch the batter better. So that way you don't have to take and worry about that.
Outfield position, right? Another similarity is that in cricket, players' on-field and off-the-field behavior is governed by an old-fashioned sense of propriety that's not unlike the unwritten rules in baseball. And the final difference that's probably become clear to you as you watch this video is that cricket is a much more international game than baseball. I don't mean to say that it is more popular in more countries than baseball, although this might also be true. What I mean by this is that international competitions, so competitions between national teams, are the norm. They're not like a special thing that everyone tunes into every 4 years. Professional cricket is...
I was about to say, with baseball, you're starting to take and see, I know about the mid-90s, you started seeing more and more often, like the World Baseball Classic, where you see players from the U.S. playing against teams from like Taiwan and Korea and Japan and China and Venezuela and Nicaragua and Cuba and places, outside of the U.S., Canada. So it's definitely, I don't think it's not as, it's probably, I know it's not as big as cricket is globally, but it has gained influence and fans across the world. That's for certain. Like we're starting to see more and more Japanese players come from the Nippon Baseball League, NPL. like Shohei Ohtani, who is arguably probably the best player in baseball right now. And he not only pitches, but he also does designated hitting. And normally, players that pitch, they weren't very good at hitting. He's good enough that not only is he a superb pitcher, but playing as a designated hitter, like he's leading the league or he's close to leading the league every year with batting averages and hits and home runs and runs batted in and things of that nature. Like he's batting over like I think 300, 320 or something like that, which is phenomenal. So stuff like that. I mean, we're starting to see more and more of that. Before it was a lot of which I'll be honest with you. One of the things for me personally I've hated seeing is there's fewer and fewer black players within the sport of baseball. Like the ones that you do see are like the Afro Latino. So they're coming from places like Cuba or Nicaragua and places like that, where they've the heritage is, they got ancestors in Africa from Africa, but they brought the New World for and stuff like that. So you're seeing more black players come from that than you are from like within the U.S. itself, and it's because you had players like Barry Bonds growing up and Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Larkin and Tony Gwynn and just a whole slew of players that were just really, really good and really fun to watch. And Ozzie Guillen, or not Ozzie Guillen, but Ozzie Smith, and there's just so many. And you had players like Hank Aaron, who was the home run leader before Barry Bonds took that. But you are starting to see a more global presence for baseball itself, more players coming from outside the U.S. to actually play baseball. Now, why it's still called the World Series, I don't know. They should take the WBC concept and the winner of Major League Baseball, then you take and play the winners of different leagues around the world. So, I think that would be interesting, a little bit more interesting to see. But, whatever.
A relatively new phenomenon in the world. And while leagues are becoming much more popular these days, it wasn't very long ago that professional cricket was looked upon as diluting the purity of the game. All right, baseball fan, you have just become a cricket master and you are ready to watch any cricket game that comes across your television. If you are a cricket fan and you notice that I got something wrong, which I probably have, or that I left something out, which I probably did, feel free to let me know in the comments. Although, like I said before, it might be more fun for you to just make your own companion video. I would love to watch a video where an actual lifelong cricket fan tries to explain cricket for baseball fans, or tries to explain baseball for cricket fans.
So one of the things I noticed was the fact that you have pass interference, you make the call, and it's two football players. That's something I've thought about doing, making a video for y'all over there, because y'all taking trash our football, but it's a lot more nuanced than what you would think. A lot more nuanced than what you would think, especially whether it's offensively or defensively in the rules and everything of that nature. Yes, they play with pads and stuff like too, but rugby players don't play with full face mask helmets, but I've seen rugby players with helmets and pads. So there's that.
Watch your mouth, young man.
But outside of that, this video right here, let me stop before I get people my comments, because nobody knows how to, lighten up or anything like that, or have the piss taken out of them.
And don't you mouth off to me, or I'm gonna slap you right in your penis.
It's always the other way around for the most part. It's weird how that works. But this right here, I'd be interested in watching a cricket match. Like, I've had people, oh, you should take and go watch this or this on this channel. I don't want to watch a cricket match that's already happened. I want to see one that's live. The fuck? Why would I want to watch something that's already happened? That makes no sense to me. Like, it's one thing if I'm watching highlights from a Premier League match or something like that. I try watching those live as well. Like, I don't mind watching some replays after listening to Redmond or something like that after a Liverpool match, but I'm not going to watch something after it's happened. That just, to me, I don't like that. I'd rather take and watch something live so I can be like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. okay, I see what they were talking about. To me, that just makes way more sense. The similarities, or the fact that there's only the two bases, they're running back and forth, but the fact that somebody can score 100 points as a batter, they're expected to score between 40 and 50 runs, like that's woohoo! But the rules make sense, especially on how you take and get them out. Especially with, for me, the fact that the ball hitting you can be a means of getting someone out, because if that means, if the umpire determines that, yeah, if they weren't they weren't standing there, the ball would have hit them, it would have hit the wickets and not, that makes 100% sense. So stuff like that, even the fact of taking and throwing it and hitting the wickets before a batter can get back to the base to take and actually and knock the ball off and get them out that way. That makes, like, seeing the rules, it makes more sense now. It really does. I think I would enjoy watching it. Now, do I think I would enjoy it as much as baseball? I don't know, because I grew up watching baseball. One of my favorite players growing up was Greg Maddux. It is my goal. I've started collecting baseball cards again. It is my goal to collect a Greg Maddux rookie card and get it graded and at least get an 8. So even if I got to buy 4, 5, 6, 7 cards to take and send them all in and get between 4, 5, 6, 7, to get that 8 or something like that, or hopefully, or maybe even take and get a 10 off of one or something like that. That's in my plans in the future, because growing up watching him, he wasn't the like the best. He didn't throw it the fastest, but his pinpoint accuracy, for me, that was one of my favorite things. Him, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, and then a run of different players they rolled through, Mark Wohlers and Steve Avery and different players like that. You had hitters like David Justice and Ron Gant and Otis Nixon, Sid Bream, and had Javier Lopez, and you had like just Terry Pendleton, and just a slew of players I grew up watching, and even players for teams that I didn't root for that I was a fan of because of how they played the game. So for me, baseball is deeply entrenched. I would enjoy watching cricket. I can tell you that. Would I enjoy it as much as baseball? I really, I can't say. I don't know if I would. And I've started getting back into baseball here in this last couple of years, because after after the players I watched all started retiring, I was like, man, it was it was a little bit of a downturn for me, but I've come back to the game, and I've started watching more, and I'm enjoying seeing the skill level and some of these players. Not only that, the batting has completely changed, but the skill level of some of these pitchers and the break some of these balls have, or some of the amount of run that some of these balls get that these players take and that these pitchers throw and stuff like that. It's just absolutely phenomenal to take and watch. So I find y'all taking shit on our sport so often.
There will now be a medium-sized intermission.
And sometimes y'all can't see past the end of your own fucking noses. And I hate to, I would say I hate to say it like that, but I really fucking don't, because the amount of arrogance in some of y'all, like y'all got shit. It's like we're not allowed to have stuff that we can enjoy. You can say what you want about baseball. Yeah, they play with gloves. Like we've also had people people have to be carted off fields and stuff like that in the sport, that where there's a reason why they have gloves. There's a reason why they have all this stuff. Like y'all can have fun watching a game that lasts for a match that might last for 5 days. I like watching a player trying to take in, which scientifically, one of the hardest things to do is not play fucking cricket, is to hit a baseball. Actually hit a baseball. Whether it's coming at you at 100 miles an hour from 60 foot away, or you're having to take and gauge, number one, the break that the ball might have, the run the ball might have, and things of that nature. So I would love to take and see some of y'all trying to keep up, try to watch and enjoy some of the sports that we actually have, because yeah, they might have taken and come from some of y'all's games, but it is what it is. That's just how it works. So definitely want to see cricket. I think I'd enjoy watching an actual live match. If I can ever run across one, I'm going to. I'm going to try to. If I can ever find one around here, around me somewhere, I'd love to take and go watch one live like that. But hope y'all enjoyed this. Y'all be good to each other. Love yourselves. Peace.